Okay, so I want to talk about urgency level. Knowing your urgency level. I found that a lot of the times I'd go to the toilet, but I didn't really have a strong enough urge to pee. So I'd get there, sometimes be able to relax enough to be able to go, but hardly any urine would come out. And it made my bladder hypersensitive. You see, I couldn't stand to have urine in my bladder. Even the slightest inkling that I might need to go, and I would feel the need to get it over and done with. I couldn't become comfortable having urine in my bladder, so it led to situations where I was going but didn't really have much of a strong urge. And of course, without really having much of an urge, it would lead to a lot of situations where I couldn't pee. And even if I did, as I said, hardly anything would come out. And I came across someone on the forum with the same issue. And just like them, I'd find myself going, and then moments later, I'd need to go again. And it's so disheartening, especially when you're out in public and you're able to relax enough to pee, only to find yourself 10 minutes down the line feeling like you need to go again. And he had the same issue. And the way he dealt with it was to take 3-hour breaks in between visits to the toilet to make sure that he was building up a strong enough urge. And I applied the same tactics for a while. I began leaving at least 2.5 hours to 3 hours between visits to the toilet, and then I would find that when I did get to a toilet, I'd have a strong enough urge, and it would only take the slightest bit of relaxation in order to develop a stream. I found that I had more chance of developing a stream with a greater degree of urgency. Now, I know that this can work both ways. It can be the other case where you've such a strong urge, such a strong urgency that it can almost put more pressure on you, because you know that if you don't let go of it now, then when are you going to get another opportunity to go? And you know it's going to be uncomfortable, because it's like a case of, well, if I don't let go of this now, I'm going to have to leave here and it's going to be very uncomfortable. And I've found that being willing, when I'm willing to go through the discomfort and be okay with that, and have this attitude of, okay, if I have to go out there with this still in my bladder, so be it. I found that that would relax me enough to be able to go. With practice, this takes consistent practice together combined with your exposure therapy. So yeah, I know it can work both ways. I think what happened is I'd numbed myself. So this lower half of my body, I wasn't really able to sense with accuracy what was going on down there. And maybe that was my way of avoiding the situation. It got to the point where I didn't know if I needed to pee or not. I'd have to ask myself, I'd think, am I bursting to pee right now? Or do I not really need to pee? I honestly didn't know anymore. And it took a while to start to be able to sense what was going on down there. So I'd be in situations where I'm out in public and even just a little bit of urgency to go, I'd be thinking, right, how am I going to get rid of this? How am I going to deal with this? My mind would begin to race and I'd think, should I go? No, don't. Stay here, look cool. I'll go in a few seconds. No, I won't. There's that hesitancy. So I began to break out of that. I began to be okay with having some urine in my bladder. So when it was filling up and I knew that the time to go to the toilet could be possibly approaching very soon, I'd just acknowledge, okay. It's like acknowledging my body for letting my brain know that it's filling up with urine. Thank you for letting me know. And I'd go back to what I was doing, whether it's in a conversation with someone. I'd do my utmost to remain present. And I began it's like riding a wave. I began to kind of feel it out. If it would fill up a little bit more, I'd be like, it's kind of like okay, I might need to go to the toilet in a bit. Now remember, I know beforehand that I'm not going to pee. My goal isn't to pee, my goal is to just break the avoidance pattern. I mean, I'd just be happy that I'm actually out in public, because a lot of the times I'd even avoid that. So it's like, great, I'm out in public, I'm breaking my comfort zones, I might go to the toilets in a bit, I'm not going there to pee, I'm just going to create the circumstances where peeing can happen. That's all I want to do, just create those circumstances, get to a situation where I can point my penis at a toilet. So I'd feel it out and I think, yeah, I'm gonna go now. There's no hesitation, yes, gonna go. And I'd walk there and it would create a kind of a fluidity, which it all helps. It's the little things adding together to create that relaxation necessary in order for peeing to happen. So yeah, I went through a lot of situations where I didn't know if I'd peed myself, and I'd be putting my hands down my boxers to check if I was leaking. Really didn't know what was going on down there, but began to become more comfortable the more I got out there purposefully and deliberately to face it. Began to be able to feel it out. Hope you got something from that video. Catch you in the next one.